Across school districts in the United States, certain books are being quietly removed from shelves. Others are challenged more publicly, often without students even knowing the reason why. One of those books is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, a powerful story about friendship, betrayal, trauma, and redemption in Afghanistan during times of war and political upheaval. Despite its literary acclaim and impact, The Kite Runner has been banned or restricted in several school systems. Why? Because it dares to discuss war, sexual violence, and political instability, realities that some consider too controversial for the classroom. But what happens when we start removing books just because they make us uncomfortable? We spoke with school librarian Miss Beam to understand how book bans work and what they mean for students.
A book ban is where a group of people get together and decide that a book is not appropriate for a larger group of people. So an example would be a principal and a PTA president deciding that these two books shouldn't be allowed here for their entire school population without finding out from the population what is the best course of action.
When asked if she believes books should ever be banned, she was direct.
No, I do not believe books should be banned. I do believe in age appropriateness of books, and books technically have an age rating like movies do. So I feel like if it has a rating that falls into the age group, there should be no question. It's not an official rating. The publisher decides the age it's appropriate for, but it's something that could easily be more streamlined.
Does it say on the book?
No, you have to look it up. So every time I'm about to order a book, I look up what's the suggested age rating. So like Amazon always has an age rating, unless it's an adult audience book.
While movies and video games have official age ratings, books often rely on publisher recommendations. Still, those recommendations are rarely enforced and rarely understood. Ms. Beam said people tend to target books that challenge personal beliefs or contain difficult subjects.
People like to ban things that are controversial. So anything LGBTQ is banned a lot, and anything with sexual references gets banned a lot, or non-Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
Since we're in a society where the majority are Christians, a lot of people go, you can't have that. It goes against what I believe in, instead of opening their eyes up to more than just their thoughts.
But shouldn't students have access to stories that reflect the full spectrum of life? According to Ms. Beam, it's not just about what's in the book, it's about who gets to decide.
So like, I wouldn't want someone to tell my kid that he couldn't read something because someone else said that it wasn't acceptable.
She pointed out that banning books doesn't protect students. It prevents them from learning about the world in a safe, guided way.
I think it harms them. I think it keeps kids in like a bubble, and they're not being exposed to things. And then when they do get exposed, it's not always positive. So like, if there is a book where students are drinking in it, the book will explore like the hangover, the being sick, like all the other things where some kids don't know anything about alcohol, and then they show up in college and then it's terrible. But if they had read about it previously, they would have at least been more aware.
Take The Kite Runner, for example. The book doesn't glamorize violence or trauma, it reveals the emotional weight of it. It shows the long-term consequences of silence, of guilt, and of shame. Shielding students from those truths doesn't make them safer, it leaves them unprepared. And the bans aren't just on intense novels.
The very first Where's Waldo, so where you look in a book and you're trying to find the little character, it technically was banned at one point because on the beach scene, the illustrator forgot to color in a girl's bikini top. Instead of like contacting the publisher, this community just banned it outright. Same with Brown Bear. It's a children's book, rhyming book, nothing wrong with it. It's written by Eric Carle. That book was banned by a group of people because they got him confused with a communist. So they banned children's books when they meant to ban adult books.
Before social media, bans often came from misunderstandings. Now they can spread instantly.
Before social media, people were banning without doing research. But now, the flip side is, you can now make a website and say, if you believe X, Y, and Z, these are all the books you shouldn't let your kids read. So now misinformation is now being more prevalent around, so it's easier to cause a stink and cause a stir. Where before it was, you had to read the book. Now you don't have to read the book. Someone is telling you what's wrong with it.
So why do book bans continue to happen? Sometimes it's about control, sometimes fear. Ms. B mentioned
one of the big things that happened with Hitler and Nazi Germany was they banned books and they burned a lot of books. They kept only a few of what they thought were the appropriate books to keep people uneducated. So to me, when you ban books and you take it away, it's kind of like a cowardice. You're doing that to prevent other people from learning more. And that's a power move, and there's no reason for that.
And today, bans can be subtle.
Some schools and school systems do it quietly, and some make a big deal. And so the difference is the ones that people catch wind of are gonna make it to the news. But then if you quietly remove books, but then there's no official banned book list, and we don't ban books, all you did was remove the books. You didn't ban them, you didn't do anything, but that's the same thing. So that's kind of the new trend, is to quietly be like, ooh, no one needs this one anymore, but we didn't ban it. We're just gonna take it for a little bit and never give it back.
In schools across the country, from Texas to Georgia, books are being challenged or pulled from classrooms and libraries, often without public input. And while some cases make the news, many don't. That's why conversations like this matter. Students deserve the right to think critically, to ask hard questions, and to engage with ideas, even when those ideas are uncomfortable. And as Ms. Beam emphasized, the solution starts with trust and communication.
Because it's not usually the kids that are the problem, and it's not saying adults are the problem, but educating them that not every book is for every person, and that's okay, but you have to talk with your kids. You have to know what they're doing. You can't be a passive parent.
She also made an important note.
You're giving your child, or most people are giving their child, $2,000 device, their phone, and they have unlimited access to everything, but then you're going after a book your kid's probably not even gonna wanna read. So you've gotta keep up the honest conversations. These behind closed door conversations are where the problems happen. You gotta follow the process and procedures, and hopefully that helps eliminate some of that.
At the heart of this issue is a simple question. Who gets to decide what knowledge is safe? If the answer is a small group of people deciding for everyone, then we're not just limiting books, we're limiting minds. And as the Kite Runner reminds us, there's only one sin, only one, and that is theft. When you tell a lie, you steal someone's right to the truth. Banning books isn't about protecting students, it's about silencing stories. And we believe students deserve to read them, to learn from them, to grow from them. This documentary is our way of standing up for stories, for voices, and for the truth.